Hi, I'm Dr. Suzanne Brock, also known as Doc Brock, and on our module today we are going to be looking at branding of products and services and how the mission statement of an organization helps to drive and steer the brand. So according to the American Marketing Association, a brand is defined as a name, a term, sign, symbol, or design, or a combination of them that is intended to identify the goods and services of one seller or group and to differentiate them from the competition. And the key word here is to differentiate them from the competition. Now, this differentiation goes beyond simply lower price, higher quality, different colors, what I'm going to call surface characteristics. It gets much deeper, and I will address that in just a minute. Some strong brands that you're probably aware of and that are recognized worldwide include Coca-Cola, which is actually one of the most iconic brands in the world, both with its scripted logo as well as its hourglass-shaped bottle. McDonald's and the Golden Arches. You also have Google and Apple as your technological examples of technological companies that provide services that are highly, highly branded. Again, this is the unique qualities of the product that are going to stick out in the mind of the consumer. So if you have a strong brand, it's going to have the following qualities. It's going to deliver a very clear message and confirm the company's credibility, as well as connecting with the targeted market on a truly emotional level. And that is a key point, that it is actually an intrinsic touching of, really, if you want to, the consumer's soul, to drive a connection with the brand. This also motivates the buyer, obviously, to buy, and it cements user loyalty, which, if you're familiar with Apple's products and Apple's consumers, that is an excellent example of consumer loyalty. So overall, a brand is a company's promise to the customer. So as I mentioned Coca-Cola before, and the need to connect emotionally with the consumer, keep in mind that Coca-Cola's brand, for example, is to inspire moments of optimism and uplift. If you didn't know this, regardless of any kind of taste tests that go on between Coke and Pepsi, Coke outsells Pepsi worldwide, and one of the main reasons for this is because of this connectivity, this connection with the consumer on such an emotional level, and this uplifting ideal that the company puts out with the brand. If you look at Apple, for example, their brand is really about simplicity, innovation, and technology that empowers the people. It's about a community, and it's just, there's a lifestyle, if you will, that is associated with these products and associated with that brand that people can relate to. Think about what McDonald's is actually saying with the tagline, "I'm loving it." If you'll notice with all three of the examples that I've given you, that the product is not discussed. It's not about the features and benefits of the product. It's actually about the feeling that goes along with the product and that strong association. So where does the brand come from? Where does the branding idea come from? Actually, the branding comes from, the idea comes from the mission statement of a company. And this is probably the driving force for an organization. A mission statement is a sentence, maybe two, possibly three sentences that are going to drive the organization strategically. Now, typically mission statements don't address a specific product line. Some of them do, and I will have some examples that have that, but it's more along the lines of looking strategically and thinking out into the future. With a mission statement, you want it to be narrow enough that it will drive the organization, and when strategic decisions need to be made, it's going to be an easier decision. Should we take on this business venture? Should we not? But you don't want them to be so narrow that you pigeonhole yourself, and you might not be able to see an opportunity in the future, but if something comes up, you don't want to circumvent that because your mission statement is too narrow. So, for example, Google's mission statement is to organize the world's information and make it universally acceptable and useful. Now, you notice that their mission is about organizing information, and nowhere in that mission statement is anything mentioned about search engines. So keeping this in mind, we now have Google Docs, which is an application that allows you to organize documents over the internet. If we had search engine in that mission statement, Google Docs probably would not be allowed if you followed the mission. So it helps management determine if a potential business venture is right or not. So another example would be, for example, if an educational institution offers ongoing workshops, maybe 2-day workshops to the workforce to allow people to keep their business skills sharp. Maybe it's offering seminars on how to use Word and Excel, or maybe some management classes. A 2-day seminar, maybe it's a 1-day seminar, and they have an opportunity now to do an extreme couponing class. Well, extreme couponing, well, maybe it's a half-day seminar, very popular, will probably generate revenue. However, if the organization is targeted at, is focused on continuing the education of the workforce, the business workforce, where does the couponing come in? It would fall outside of that. So a strong mission statement with this organization helps to make that determination of whether extreme couponing is or is not a good fit. And in this case, if you're targeting business clients, it's not going to be a good fit. So the mission statement is also going to help companies differentiate themselves, again, from the competition in a little bit different way. It's going to be providing, it's going to be showing what kind of value is offered to the customer. So let's take cars, for example. We have BMWs, which are the ultimate driving machine. We have Volvos that are probably the safest vehicles on the road, and Mercedes that are luxury vehicles. Now, while all three of these categories, they're cars, they have wheels, they have engines, and they get you from point A to point B faster than walking. However, they are targeting specific groups. BMW, the ultimate driving machine, I think that pretty much says it all. Volvo is extremely safe, and again, Mercedes is catering towards the luxury market. Now, while BMW is very safe, and I'm confident in the safety of their car, they're really not pushing that safety avenue, they're pushing the driving experience. Same thing with Volvo. Volvos are great cars. I've had one. They're great to drive, and they're quite enjoyable, but that's not really what the company is pushing. They're really emphasizing the safety. So that's just a little bit of differential, how it is a very similar product, but those different niches are being targeted, and that's what the company is really focusing on. So let's take a look. We're going to take a look at some bad mission statements, and we're going to start out with looking at Avery Dennison's mission, which is to help make every brand more inspiring and the world more intelligent. Well, that's a great goal, to try and make the world more intelligent, but it's pretty lofty, and how realistic is that? And to add another wrinkle to it, Avery Dennison sells mailing labels, so there's quite a bit of disconnect in addition to being such a lofty goal. They really need to tighten that up. And if they have a specific group that they want to help improve the education level on, maybe pull it down and make it more realistic in that sense. Another example of a not so good mission statement would be Barnes & Noble's, whose mission is to operate the best specialty retail business in America regardless of the product that they sell. Well, I think they're going to have a little bit of a challenge if they decide they want to sell books and they want to sell airplanes. So they need to narrow that focus so that the specific strategic direction is more clear. So let's take a look at some good ones. And I love this one from IKEA, which is, our vision is to create a better everyday life for the many people. Our business idea supports this vision by offering a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. Very well, they know their target and exactly what they are selling, very specific, but it can be changed, as the economy fluctuates, and maybe, hopefully we all make more money, but if it goes the other way, then that mission statement will still work in that instance. And finally, this last good mission statement is by Warby Parker. It was founded with a rebellious spirit and a lofty objective to offer eyewear at a revolutionary price while leading the way for socially conscious business. So they know exactly who they're targeting, probably the millennials, and they want to have it at a price point that is not the luxury market. So again, very well focused on that. Just a couple other notes here as far as the branding goes. A good brand is the NFL, where they are focusing on being the premier sports and entertainment brand that brings people together, connecting them socially and emotionally like no other. So again, reaching into that emotional standpoint. So in conclusion, the mission statement is what drives the brand, and having a strong brand is meant to have an intrinsic connection, an emotional connection with the consumer, because it will strengthen the loyalty, it increases the credibility of the customer, and when you have that business, it's good for business. It helps the business to become more successful. So I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or your instructor for more information.